Speak. I'm your co-host, Kyrie.
And I'm your other co-host, Riley.
Today we will be asking Professor Vincent Yannick, Director of the Scottish Oceans Institute, just how smart dolphins are.
Well, I know dolphins are smart, but they're not as smart as we are.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Dolphins are so smart, they don't even need to go to school.
Hey, wanna bet? I bet you that humans are smarter than dolphins.
I'll take that bet. Loser has to dance like a dolphin. Let's go ask Professor Yannick. Hello, Professor Yannick, and welcome to Dolphin Speak. Can you give us an idea of what you study?
I'm really interested in animal communication. And so I always wondered what it's like to be an animal and how the mind of an animal is different from ours. And so communication was kind of a focus for me because that's really when two animals come together and they're exchanging signals, right? And those signals are for something, and often some kind of information is passed from one animal to another. And I'm interested in how animals differ in their communication and why some animals have very complex communication where they have a lot of things that they tell each other. I was in a lab where people were studying birds and monkeys, and I found that we know a lot about birds and monkeys and very little about dolphins in comparison. But dolphins are kind of in between the two because dolphins have large brains that are kind of similar to those of chimpanzees, for example, and other large apes. And at the same time, they're really good with sounds. They're producing a lot of sounds all the time, kind of like birds do as well. And I'm also interested in cognition. And what I mean by cognition is how animals process information in their brain and then use that to improve their lives in a way.
What made you interested in studying dolphins?
So the main thing I find interesting is really what their chatter means. So what all those sounds mean. They're producing so many sounds, and you know that they have echolocation, so they can produce sounds and kind of tell what's ahead of them just by listening.
So me and Riley are having a bet, and I think you're just the person to settle it. So how smart are dolphins, or are they smarter than humans?
That's a good question, and I get that asked a lot. So the question about how smart an animal is not easy to answer, and the reason for that is that we first got to ask ourselves, what do we mean by smart? Because if I just even look amongst people, everyone is good at something, but usually it's not the same things. So some people are good with their hands and they can build stuff. So some people know how to build an airplane, for example. Other people can learn 10 different languages. And so you sort of see that there are very different types of skills. And how can we now judge which one's better than the other? We have that problems already within people, then how do we compare to other animals? Because now we gotta say, okay, I can say I'm really good at running, and a dolphin's really good at swimming. Which one's better? Well, I don't really know. And you kind of say, okay, I take all these different pieces and I sum them all up. I give a score from 1 to 10 on every one, and then I sum them all up, and then what's the overall score? If you do that, I think actually that what happens is that you still kind of come out with no clear answer, because dolphins are very good at some things that we aren't good at, and on the other hand, we are very good at some that dolphins aren't.
How do you scientifically study how smart these animals are? Do you use like a special tool or technology?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. It's really hard to do, isn't it? Because they don't speak human language, we can't just ask them stuff. Another tool really that we're using is the experiment. And an experiment is something where I develop an idea of what an animal can do. And to test it, what I do is I present the animal with a particular situation and make a prediction as to what is going to happen. So if I give the animals a lot of components to build a tool, and then I sort of say, well, if they're good at tool use, then they should be able to put this together and use this tool. I can then present the animals with that and see whether they can actually do it or not.
And why are there so many differences between animal minds, and why aren't all animals good at all kinds of thinking?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. So, well, first of all, the animals need to be good in their particular environment, right? So they need to find food, they need to survive, they need to find partners, and they need to have offspring, kids, and and that's very different. So, and every animal has a completely different set of problems and challenges that it has to solve, and so therefore their minds have to work differently. And so that's why animal minds are different, is because they live in very different environments, and not everyone can live in the same environment because there would be too much competition.
And Professor Yannick, thank you so much for coming to Dolphin Speak, and we hope to see you very soon.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
So I guess we were both right and wrong.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what you want dolphins and people to do.
Well, at least I don't have to do the dolphin dance.
Oh no, we both got it wrong, so we both have to do the dolphin dance.
And on that sad note, see you next time on Dolphin Speak.